They're just any number of things which, if you were to look at them individually, you'd say, oh, well, that's not too important. At this level, everything makes a difference. There's nothing, including the coating that you put on the material before you paint it, including the chemistry of the resin that you use to glue there is nothing that doesn't make a difference.
When you look at Wilson Audio in 50 years of history, there are a lot of companies out there that get led in a variety of directions or jump ship to a different business model. It's wonderful to be here at Wilson Audio, to be a part of such an amazing team that still holds the culture that Wilson Audio was founded on.
Many years ago, when I first started to work here at Wilson Audio, I was the first engineer that Dave hired. Dave was very good at his initial designs and his initial intent, but he decided that he wanted more. And so he hired me. And as an electrical engineer, I then got the ability, if you will, to look at mechanical designs as well as the electrical designs that go into a loudspeaker. As we progressed forward and as the desire for Wilson Audio products increased, the need came to where we needed to hire a specific mechanical engineer. And so we did that with Blake. And then again, as more intent of our designs changed and other aspects, we needed another mechanical engineer. And we have this wonderful synergy that works together. We are able to talk about how the mechanical aspects need to fit in so that the electrical aspects of a transducer or the crossover can be optimized also within the design process.
I've always been of the mindset that the more heads you get together at one time, the better. As we sit around in design and engineering meetings, it's really neat to see the ideas that get thrown out, and then we can rely on each other's expertise. Vern Cradell is our acoustical engineer, and the things that he's able to do in the crossover network play into what I'm able to design from a cabinet standpoint. Our other engineer, Jerem Lance, is really amazing at hardware design. And so as the three of us work together, we've been able to really create some really neat ideas, really advanced kind of designs that we had never considered before. But because we have more capability and expertise now, and we learn from each other, and so out of that we've been able to really increase the performance as well as the aesthetics of Wilson Audio products.
In the 50 years that Wilson Audio has been designing adjustable speakers, we've learned a lot about how we can do that through the Alexia series, the Alex series, the original Wham, all the way through to the current Wham, XVX, and even projects under current development. We've been able to distill all that down into new technologies that allow us to more finely adjust, more accurately position, and reproduce all of the musicality that a listener would want to hear.
So you think about design of Wilson Audio products, and what are the areas that we could develop and refine in our products? Look at the materials and the different types of materials that we use, and the function of those materials, and the strategic application of those materials within the enclosure design. You look at the enclosure, the shape, and how organically these shapes merge together in what I believe is a really beautiful way. But there's a lot more behind that than just shaping it and an artistic endeavor. When you change the thickness of material from one area to the next, you break up standing waves, you break up panel resonances in a way that helps serve the music.
As we consider the aspect of materials that have changed over the years, our first material was an X material, and we wound up using that everywhere in the early Wilson Audio products. As we developed new materials, we developed an S material, and we tried to use that in certain areas, but we found that its character reflected wonderfully in the mid-range, but didn't work so well in the tweeters. And so we've then moved forward from that. We developed a W material, and we've now moved into what we call a V material. That V material is an intrinsically designed dampening material so that it isolates the woofer section from the higher frequency mid-range tweeter section.
Materials research has been a key factor in the level of performance that we're getting out of Wilson Audio products right now. I have racks and racks of materials that we've tested, all in that pursuit of trying to find the materials that work best in whatever application, whether that's damping between upper modules and the woofer, a woofer baffle, side materials, and we've really come a long way in the types of things that we're using, reaching out to companies that you would not traditionally think would be creating materials that would be used in loudspeakers, and yet through that research that we've done, we've been able to identify and are using materials that are state-of-the-art and very unique in the loudspeaker industry.
Over the years, our abilities to do time adjustments at Wilson Audio have changed. We started off early with just a canted or slanted back baffle that did some rudimentary alignment between the tweeter and mid-range. And we've moved forward in that aspect to where now we have modules that are able to be adjusted forward and backward so that the launch points of the different frequencies, so the mid-ranges and the woofer and the tweeter, all align perfectly with the listener's ear. Those changes came from just the ability to have sliders of modules in the X1 to now having the ability to very precisely, with a mechanism, move a module front to back as well as tilt it forward and backward.
The adjustment capabilities that Wilson Audio speakers had when I first started working with engineering within the design elements of our speakers have progressed quite a bit. That we've been able to make refined adjustments, finer adjustments, and even up till now in current development we have revolutionary adjustment mechanisms that we're working on right now that are taking us to the next level of adjustability.
So one of the things we've liked to do over the years is, in terms of function and what the end user experience is modifying just the way that the user interacts with the loudspeaker itself. We've done some things like making toolless designs for adjustments, being able to lock things down, make those adjustments. At times it can be a little more challenging on the engineering side, but for the end user, if it's simpler to use and has a better touch and feel, those are the things that we want to do. It just enhances the total experience of not just the sound, but the physical interaction with the speaker itself.
When I first started at Wilson Audio, one of the things that I noticed was this aspect of family. There were multiple different individuals, but yet there seemed to be this unison in thought and idea. So this culture of family, this culture that Dave and Cheryl Wilson developed, has continued with Wilson Audio.
And one of the strengths that we've come to appreciate and understand at Wilson Audio is the uniqueness of all the individuals, all the different backgrounds, all the different histories, all the unique skill sets that we all bring comes together to create a common value that we have to drive everything we do to an excellence, that our products are set to a high standard and everyone understands what that is and wants to achieve it, and together we work to improve that continually, and that always creates what everyone has come to know as Wilson Audio speakers.
One of the really special things about Wilson Audio is the collaborative nature that we have here within the company. As an engineer, I can design things on the computer, and if the computer says it's right, it should be. But that's not always the case. And so it's really fun to go back and actually talk to the people that are, machining the parts, putting them together, doing the adhesive, anything from that all the way through paint and then final production, And we get together and we talk about our loudspeakers. We talk about production, manufacturing. We work as a team to try and improve in any and every way that we can, and we don't always agree. And sometimes, for instance, there are design elements that are challenging and difficult to implement, and yet we find a way. We find a way so that we can make it the best that we can and as easy as we can, even though at the end of the day it still might be hard.
We've been talking a lot about design, and it's one thing for a person or a group of people to create something and design something. It's a whole nother thing to have that design repeated and manufactured over and over and over again to a level to where the last one off the line is the same as the first one off the line. I really couldn't be prouder of the team here at Wilson Audio and what they've been able to do over 50 years. There are so many people here that have been here 10, 15, 20, some over 30 years. They care about what they do, and they're the absolute best at their craft. The culture here at Wilson Audio isn't a marketing line. It's the action of every single craftsperson here at Wilson Audio and what they do every day to create the absolute best for you.